Good day, everyone. This is the presentation of Group 1, and we are tackling about the topic, which is the communication ethics. Introduction. In these lessons, we will know the importance of communication ethics in our daily life. We'll tackling about and how to communicate with each other ethically using symbols and actions. And also, we will know what is communication ethics, the different barriers and principles. Let's learn together and apply it in our life to improve our communication skills and confidence. Here are the objectives of our topic: the importance of ethical communication, fundamentals of communication ethics, the different barriers to communication ethics in an organization, and the principles of communication ethics.
What is communication? It's a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system or symbol, signs, or behavior. Ethics. Ethics is the philosophical study of the concept of moral right and wrong and moral good and bad through any philosophical theory of what morally right and wrong or morally good and bad, and to any system or code of moral rules, principle, or values. Communication ethics is how the person uses language, media, journalism, creates relationships that are guided by individual morals values. Importance of ethical communication. Ethic in communication affect not only individual but also enterprises, corporation, and professional organization. For doing result-driving communication, it is essential that communication ethics are followed by responsible or involved entities for sharing information effectively and problem solving to decision making, establishing sustainable relationship. Paying head of business professional and cultural ethics is crucial for successful communicators. Fundamental of communication ethics. From professional communication to general day-to-day communication in society, college, or university to business communication of the internet. All forms of communication have their specific set of ethics that govern the communication process of ethical grounds. Some of the fundamental upon which communication ethics are generally based are the following. Transparency and openness. The most fundamental principle of communication ethic is truthfulness and honesty. The importance of being open and honest in all business relationships cannot be overstated. Honesty and transparency are essential for business to prosper short and long term, whether among its member, patterns, or customer. Being truthful is linked to one's personal and organizational truthworthiness, integrity, the company favorable reputation. Preventing misunderstanding and misinterpretation is one of the most important goals of communication ethics. Development of relationship. People can express themselves through communication to build relationship. Employees dialing with the management, executives communicating with investors, and supervisor conversing with other corporate representatives all require establishing connection in the workplace. The most know microscoption with the organization aim to create relationship inside himself with the other business or clients. To do so, communication ethic rules must be followed, providing constant truth, explicit knowledge what must be achieved and how it must be achieved.
Considering difficulties, consider any relevant aspect that may affect how the recipient interprets or receives information while using communication ethics. According to the ethical communication standards, the speaker should use whatever options are needed to minimize the barriers to communication and guarantee that the information is comprehended and understood well by the listeners. So here we are now. Let me introduce to you the different barriers to communication ethics. First, the language. Speaker must use language that listeners comprehend to communicate ethically. To give a business presentation in English to a non-English speaking audience would be ridiculous. It would also be inappropriate to deliver the material with a segment in English and only sections of the data in the non-English speaking audience choosing language.
Technology. It is taken for granted that advanced technology is available Not everyone has access to technology platforms or applications. When communicating ethically to a specific audience, having access to certain technologies and knowing how to operate certain software might be obstacles. Jargon. Every business has its dialect. It is ethical to use plain, easy to understand language while speaking. Avoid using excessive jargon as still will parts of conversation unclear to some of audience.
Communication ethics in our organization. To operate effectively and efficiently, it is crucial to communicate quickly, ethically, and appropriately. For both local and large-scale person-to-person talks, abiding a communication-based code of ethics is critical. Business communication relies on ethical standards to underpin all of its interactions, ensuring that all enterprises' workflows, short-term tasks, and long-term projects are handled and completed correctly. Misunderstanding, disagreements, project delays, and establishment of an inefficient working environment can all come from a breakdown in productive and ethical communication. Within the context of communication ethics, the emotional ability allows you to understand the need of others and respond to them as efficiently as possible, as if you're in their position.
For a message to be most effective, speaking in a particular problem in a business setting often necessitates selecting the most pertinent and appropriate time and place. This necessitates a thorough understanding of the listeners, as well as tact, strategy, and preparation. Depending on the audience, different vocabulary or language may be preferred and preference for one communication methodology over another. To be a good communicator, you must first understand your audience in order to speak in a way that they will comprehend.
Principle of communication ethics. For effective communication, having the power of acceptance and being able to understand others' perspectives are the most important principle of effective communication, around which traditional, local, international, as well as online communication ethics are based.
Active listening. To be effective, communication ethics requires the listener to actively listen to the speaker, rather than only hearing what they want to hear or only hearing portions of the discussion. This is also includes just for explanation, asking questions when a topic is not entirely comprehended. Being non-judgmental. Communicating ethically and briefly means interacting with each recipient non-judgmentally, avoiding unwanted conflict. Judgments obstructs communications and leads to misunderstandings. The unnecessary argument is never good for business. Such conflict are frequently the result of unintelligible interactions with judgmental, angry, and rude statement continually serving as the cause of such miscommunications. Honesty. Being honest is a communicating to a listener what is based on fact, with no intentions of misleading or only presenting parts of the point. It also includes remaining objective without modifying the statement to what the speaker wants the audience to believe. The goal of communication ethics is to allow the listener to think whatever they want based on the provided material. Reliable information and data should be the foundation of communication ethics. Avoid negativity. When talking ethically, it is assumed that the speaker will avoid being impolite and will use delicacy. The ethical communicator understands that it's not just about what you say, but also about how you say it. One of the most critical aspects of communication is tone. A soft talent that helps one recognize the most effective way to respond is controlling one's technique. If the tone isn't right, the talk might escalate into useless quarrels that discourage business performance. These are the examples of communication ethics. First is the medical sector. In the medical industry, there are different medical codes of ethics that medical personnel must follow in terms of their actions behavior, and communications, in adding to the crucial HIPAA law. These principles ensure that the rights of all patients and medical personnel are protected. Doctors, for example, are bound by law to give away confidential information about patients to anyone who has not given their agreement to receive such information. Second one is the property industry. In the property business world, ethical communications can take on many forms, taking into account the revealing of important details to would-be homeowners of a property, including negative truths about the property, for instance, giving away details on the entire history of the estate or information on accidents or offenses that have taken place there. This is the end of our topic. Thank you for listening and watching. God bless.